You really don't need to stress over endgame gear, all in quotations, best gear, and I'm going to explain why in this video. Roll it. Welcome back, window-licking extraordinaires. Hope you're all doing well, in great health, and having tons of sex.
If I was a boxer, I would bounce those things like Sugar Ray Leonard.
And also like, share, and subscribe, or become a channel member. You know how this goes. Now, let's get down to business. So I've noticed a lot of players getting stressed over Master Temple of the Spider and the new trial due to the new high-end gear available in that specific content. They absolutely feel that they need to run that content to get the new best rings and the new best gear, when in reality they might not need them as much as they think they do. The reasons most players, not all, chase after all the best items is either because they run the so-called endgame content all the time and absolutely need to have all the best stuff so they can be competitive at a very high level, or they want the new shiniest shinies because they feel they will be excluded from specific content if they don't, which is actually a thing and does happen, sadly. Or maybe they just like collecting all the gear just for the sake of having them, or they feel like they should have them since it's the new best thing and it would help their character and their progression. And all the above is completely fine, but there are those who feel stressed over it, and maybe even more so because even though they might want the new stuff, they can't find the groups to help them achieve those goals or are not yet at the level required to participate. First, as a player, you need to ask yourself what type of player you are. Are you even going to be running that level or type of content in the first place to justify getting gear from that content altogether? Let me elaborate by giving you an example. Some of the newest best gear comes from Master Temple of the Spider, or some would think that they are the best because it's a master version of content, and usually master content has higher item level gear or better stuff, but that's not necessarily true, but I do agree that some of the stuff can be best in slot. So from the Master Temple of the Spider, you can get some good gear, but are they really that good? I mean, the chest piece grants you 5% extra damage when you attack enemies that are not facing you, and that bonus doubles to 10% in Underdark areas. Not a very good chest piece because outside of the Underdark, you only get 5% damage, and the loss of the stats from not having a chest piece that grants you 50% total stats doesn't justify using this, and the 10% damage only applies to Underdark areas. So why even bother going through the hassle and torturing yourself in Master Temple of the Spider just to use an item that is restricted to the Underdark in the first place? The headpiece grants action points, but it's not that great because it's useless in single target content. The boots, on the other hand, are only good in Master Temple of the Spider, and the gloves are absolutely horrible. And in the new trial, all this gear I just mentioned can be upgraded to gain 1 to 2% more on each piece of gear, and still they won't be that good beyond Underdark related content. The only truly good gear from Master content is usually rings, companion gear, or weapons, because most of them are not restricted to a specific zone or type of content. So if you don't feel like stressing yourself out, there are alternatives elsewhere. For example, from a DPS's perspective, the two best rings in the Master Temple of the Spider are the Ring of Beauty that grants you 5% combat advantage and the Obligation Ring that grants you 5% crit strike. You don't need either of these rings to cap your stats. They just make capping them easier, and you also gain a higher item level. The crit strike ring can be replaced with an even better crit ring that you can get from the dragon hunts called the Soothsayer's Ring of Absolution, which gives you a total of 7% crit strike as opposed to the 5% from the Obligation Ring, and it's way easier to complete and participate in dragon hunts than it is Master Temple of the Spider. The combat advantage ring is tougher to replace, but we capped combat advantage before these rings and we can cap it after these rings. If you are missing 5% combat advantage, you can use a tutored companion while in a party to buff your whole group or party up with someone who can. Just don't be that guy who expects other people to change their builds just to improve your position on the Paingiver chart. You can also use the Sunlord's Elixir, or simply use companion or companion bonuses that cap out your combat advantage. You can even use combat advantage from your mount equip powers, use the Gith race, and so on. There are options out there if you don't feel the need to run master content. And just to avoid confusion and misunderstandings, I'm not trying to convince people that they shouldn't run master content, like Master Temple of the Spider or the new trial, which I'm not even going to attempt to mention because my tongue doesn't even twist that way. It's always fun to run new things and test yourself, so definitely give them a shot when and if you can. All I'm saying is if you are in the larger percentage of a player base who doesn't run master content or can't run it yet due to item level, there are alternatives to gear and that you don't need to stress over it. It's also no fun to get trapped in a loop of thinking that it is only possible to get capped total percentages if you do get these items, but you can't get into the trials to actually get them because you don't have capped percentages, which is a whole paradox on its own. Always make your choices by weighing what it is you do the most and if the gear you are after expands your horizons and benefits you in any way. If you run Lair of the Mad Mage in normal dungeons all day every day, then what use is master content gear to you, especially if some of it is restricted to specific content. But if you are the type who wants to excel and partake in the most challenging content, then absolutely go for it. Here are some alternative areas or content to farm really good gear that is much easier to acquire than master content. And if one day you want to and are at the level of running master content regularly, then be my guest. Farm Hardcore Vault of Stars in the first mini-boss for gear. It has great gear for all roles. You can also farm the Vault of Stars for really good rings at the endgame chest, like the Red Eye's Glare, the Queen's Golden Opal, and so on and so forth. Companion gear from Sharandar is random, but all you need to do is knock out the daily bounty quests. North Dark Reaches also has really good comp gear. However, you do need Astral Diamonds and a little time gate between weekly currencies. Just run those trains and you can get to choose what piece you want to get. Run Dragon Hunts for gear and rings. Some of the best gear comes from there, like these chest pieces and more depending on your role. And you can also get the Mythalore artifact set from the Dragonbone Veil campaign, Stormforged weapons from the North Dark Reaches campaign, legendary insignia choice packs from appointment events, shirts, pants, and rings can also come from heroics and the auction house. The last few new areas have dropped these like Halloween candy, so the auction house prices are really cheap. And there are a few more areas, but you get my point. No reason to stress over master content. You have lots of gear and item choices to serve your purpose until you are actually able to run master content. Or you might never want to run master content altogether. That is completely up to you. And I think I should really restart that It's Okay Not to Be Best in Slot video series to help new players out. What do you guys think? Should I update that series? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and by the way, before I go, watch my dragon videos too, you window lickers. They were super fun to make and super interesting and took forever to edit, so don't be fucking hoes. Okay, go watch my shit. Anyways, gotta go. See you soon with more videos, and as always, comment below if you have any thoughts. Galactic here. Peace out. Stay safe.
Galactic underwear, drop the milli on me. Everybody on the chat acting salty.